In May 2019, the original musical, Light entity registered in California, USA, was officially renamed TikTok Incorporated, responsible for operating TikTok's business in the United States. TikTok's rapid growth and expansion have pushed ByteDance's market valuation to record highs, making ByteDance one of the rare Chinese tech companies with hundreds of millions of users outside the Chinese market. In 2019, TikTok was subjected to legal investigations by multiple regulatory bodies in the United States, the most notable of which was the National Security Review conducted by the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFI-US. Starting in October 2019, ByteDance gradually separated its TikTok business from the Chinese Douyin business. The U.S. Secretary of the Treasury chairs CFI-US and is comprised of representatives from 16 government agencies and offices, including the Director of National Intelligence and the Secretary of Labor. CFI-US has the authority to review covered transactions, which include transactions initiated by or involving foreign persons that could result in control of a U.S. business by a foreign person. The CFI-US review process begins with the voluntary filing by the company involved, and reviewing a transaction with substantial issues can take 4 to 8 months. Possible outcomes of a CFI-US review include unconditional approval of the transaction, conditional approval, or a recommendation to the President of the United States to prohibit or unwind the transaction. CFI-US does not provide reasons for its decisions to the parties involved, and by regulation, its decisions on national security grounds are not subject to judicial review. Filing with CFI-US is voluntary for most transactions, but CFI-US retains the right to force a review before or after a transaction is completed. However, with new regulations enacted for the full implementation of the FIRA Act effective February 13, 2020, there are mandatory filing requirements for 1. Foreign investments in technology, and 2. Transactions where a foreign government-controlled entity acquires a substantial interest in a U.S. business involved in critical technology, critical infrastructure, or sensitive personal data, referred to as USTID businesses. These new provisions align with CFI-US's recent scrutiny directions. Additionally, CFI-US has recently focused on transactions in the semiconductor, big data, telecommunications, and cybersecurity sectors, as well as the integrity of the defense industrial base and government supply chain. CFI-US's National Security Review of TikTok since Musical. Lie was a Chinese company registered in the U.S. ByteDance's acquisition constituted a transaction under CFI-US's jurisdiction. Although ByteDance was not compelled to file with CFI-US at the time of the acquisition, CFI-US retains the right to review any such transactions retrospectively and can recommend unwinding them even after their completion. CFI-US scrutinized TikTok due to concerns over sensitive issues like users' personal data. This concern stems from China's national intelligence law, passed in 2017, which requires domestic companies to cooperate with the government's intelligence collection efforts, leading senators to worry about the Chinese government's access to data from TikTok's American users. In response, CFI-US launched an investigation into TikTok, which could potentially require ByteDance to divest TikTok. As a response to CFI-US's investigation, TikTok issued statements regarding its data security and content moderation policies. In March 2020, TikTok pledged to store all American users' data exclusively in the United States, with backups in Singapore. According to the information, TikTok signed a 3-year agreement with Google in May 2019, committing to purchase over $800 million in cloud services during this period. TikTok does not have data centers in China, and its data is not subject to Chinese law. TikTok also maintains a team dedicated to addressing cybersecurity, data privacy, and general data protection issues, along with a content moderation team based in California, USA, tasked with ensuring product content compliance with U.S. policies. One of TikTok's strengths is its ability to accurately push various relevant videos to users based on big data analysis. ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, is the inventor and owner of this algorithm technology, holding all rights to it. Therefore, if ByteDance were to sell TikTok's business, it would need approval from relevant Chinese authorities unless it does not include this technology. According to the regulations on the Administration of Technology Import and Export of the People's Republic of China, any technology transfer to foreign entities, whether through trade, investment, or other means, must strictly comply with these regulations. The company must apply for a technology export license from the Provincial Commerce Department for restricted technology exports, so that substantive negotiations can be conducted and a technology export contract can be signed. ByteDance's international business has achieved rapid development, relying on China's strong source code technology support and continually providing the latest core algorithm services to overseas companies, which is a typical technology service export. For its international business to continue operating smoothly, regardless of the new owner or operator, the transfer of software code or its usage rights from within China to overseas, or the provision of technical services from within China to overseas, may be required. Restricted technology export contracts become effective from the date the technology export license is issued. Thus, the sale of businesses, including technology for personalized information, push services based on data analysis, becomes effective from the date the technology export license is issued. Anyone wishing to purchase TikTok must comply with the regulations on the Administration of Technology Import and Export of the People's Republic of China and apply for a restrictive technology export license for the transaction to be recognized by the Chinese government. The regulations stipulate that unauthorized import or export of restricted technologies results in confiscating illegal proceeds and a fine of 1 to 5 times the amount of the illegal proceeds. Transactions conducted without applying for a restrictive technology export license from the commerce authorities blatantly violate Chinese laws and regulations. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce would then take punitive measures, such as imposing hefty fines or revoking the trade operation license, against both parties involved in the transaction for violating regulations. Any technology export project that has not obtained China's technology export license intent letter cannot engage in substantive negotiations or make legally binding commitments on technology export. Thus, many investors in the United States are eager to purchase TikTok. However, even if ByteDance wishes to sell TikTok, it would need to apply for a restrictive technology export right from the Chinese government before it could proceed with the sale.